And this is not a gear channel. This is a video I never thought I'd make, but my buddy Rick said this.
My buddy Dewey from Colorado Mall Crawlers encouraged me to get a 12-volt fridge, and I did that about a year and a half or two ago, and I love it.
So I figure it's time I actually explain why I think a budget fridge makes sense for anyone who spends time behind the wheel, even if you're not an off-roader or overlander. All right, let's talk about these different fridges, and most of these I have bought myself, and I recommend every one of these brands because I have had experience with them, but there is differences to them. So let's start with the cheapest, the BougeRV fridges. My first main fridge was a BougeRV fridge, and it took the abuse. It was out there on the trails with me. It was absolutely awesome, and it was super cheap to buy. And it lasted for 2 years of on and off-roading and overlanding, but mostly off-roading without issue. And after the 2 years expired, that's when that fridge stopped working. Now, I think it was repairable, but you know, it was such a cheap fridge, I just decided to try a different one. And that's when I went to SetPower. Now, SetPower, that fridge has been great. It's the one that my dad has. He has a SetPower fridge that he uses to go get groceries and stuff. SetPower offers a 3-year warranty, and I think that may actually at least last 3 years. I've heard of people that have had SetPowers last for way longer than that. So you have that out there, but if it fails in 3 years, you can take that SetPower one and get a new one. And they're only a little bit more than BougeRV fridges. Now that brings me to the highest end of the budget RV fridges, because ICECO is more expensive than both BougeRV and SetPower. But ICECO does have some pretty amazing benefits. First off, you have a 5-year warranty, and I've heard of people that have been using ICECO fridges for way longer than 5 years. So I am really looking forward to that and hoping that's the case with this new ICECO one. Now, the other thing about ICECO fridges is they also have a much better compressor than the other ones, or at least from what I've heard, a better compressor. And based on, this is actually the first time I'm using this ICECO one, I'm actually pretty impressed that this thing was able to cool in this direct sunlight out here and how quickly it did it. That is pretty awesome. This is a really awkward position, but guys, I understand the biggest concern when switching from a cooler to a budget fridge is power. You don't need power for a cooler, so you guys are probably wondering, how do you power this thing? Well, I power this with my stock batteries of my Jeeps, and I have a 20-year-old Jeep, I have this 10-year-old Jeep, and I have a new Jeep. Now, the new Jeep has an auxiliary battery. That thing has been flawless. That thing lets me run the fridges overnight from my normal 12-volt socket in the Jeep and not really have to worry about starting the next day. The fridge runs throughout the night, and I wasn't really sure of that. I did some experiments and it worked, and it's continued to work even on longer camp stays and stuff like that. Now, these don't have that. These don't have an auxiliary battery. The thing is, during a normal day of driving, wheeling, stopping for pictures, stopping to go explore something, never had an issue with this thing not being able to run off of the starter battery or killing the battery. These things have protective mechanisms so that they'll cut out the fridge before cutting out your ability to start the vehicle. And if you're really worried about it, you could unplug it when you go for a hike or something like that. But at least in my experience, it's been pretty good. Now, if you really just don't want to do that, which I totally understand, well, get a power station. And this is how I run the fridges at night on this 10-year-old Jeep and my 20-year-old Jeep. I use a little power station. This thing was only like 50% charged. That fridge over there was not pre-cooled. We're in the sun right now. And this thing has been able to cool this thing down to, one of the compartments is freezing, the other one is 35 degrees, and it only used 10% of the battery. Now, if you've been running it all night, all day, that's not going to be a problem because that thing's already going to be cool in the back of your vehicle. And you just plug that in overnight where the temperatures are lower anyway, and you're good. And then in the morning, you take the plug out, put it back in your vehicle, and you're good to go. Now we're wrapping this up, but I think I should talk about sizes. And we got 3 different sizes here. We got small, we got medium in the ICECO, and we got large with the SetPower. And the biggest thing, I can't tell you what size to get, but if you're using a cooler, you don't need a fridge the same size as your cooler. Remember that cooler uses ice, it takes up a lot of space. These things hold a ton of stuff. In fact, one reason I don't use the SetPower one a lot is that holds way more than I actually need, and it takes up too much space. So like there's very few times that I ever needed it, but it was a great fridge for home because I could throw all kinds of stuff in it. That's why I've been using it at home. Now, the BougeRV little small ones, they've been all right for me. Like I use those ones overlanding on most of the trips because I can pack for a 3 to 6 day trip with that small little fridge. But I'm really excited about that ICECO one up there. It's medium size. It's way bigger than the small fridge, but it's really not much bigger than the size of the small fridge. So it's going to fit in my 2 doors, which I was not thinking it could. That's it. The biggest thing, if you're concerned and don't know what size you want to get, well then find some friends, go to a Jeep club, go to an off-road club, an overlanding club, and see what fridges your friends, those guys are running. Get an idea, get some comparison, and then you can figure it out. Now you guys may be wondering, should I get a dual zone or a single zone? Well, most of my friends, I think we agree that dual zone is probably best, even if you're not going to be using it as a freezer. Now, the reason for that is you can keep one side colder for like your cold drinks, and then the other side a little bit warmer for food, other kinds of stuff. Now, you can get a single zone and it's going to be a little bit cheaper than a dual zone. But in terms of like space, if you get the same size of a dual zone and the same size of a single zone, you're going to have about the same amount of space because the compressor takes up most of the space. And basically the only difference between a dual zone and a single zone is usually like a little thin wall in between those two. So you're really not losing much space by going to a dual zone. Now, one more concern about using these fridges is packing them. You want to pack them right. In the early days of me using these fridges, I would come to broken stuff in the fridge. So I'm driving a solid axle vehicle on rough trails. I get it. It's not the fridge's fault. It's not the vehicle's fault. It's just nature of how things are out there on the trail. But since then, I've kind of fixed this, and the way I fix it, the things that usually would break were cans. Cans would leak, cans would get punctured, a little puncture, and then you would have fluids down on the bottom. And if I had beer, it'd smell up the fridge. So what I do now is I make sure that all the cans are nice and tight down in there, give them a little wiggle room. You don't want them to be so tight that when it does bounce around, it's going to break. And then I put the food on top of it, kind of giving it cushion, and it's worked perfectly. I have not had issues with broken stuff in my fridge for quite a while. But I will say all these fridges handle broken stuff quite well. You just clean it out, put baking soda in there, get the smells out, and it's good to go. Guys, I don't like selling stuff, but I do truly believe a budget fridge makes sense for most people. And this was my video argument for it. You guys may agree, may disagree. I'd love to hear it down in the comments. If you have any questions about anything I talked about in this video or stuff that I forgot to talk about, leave me a comment. I read them all. I will answer them. And for those of you waiting for our next overland guide, I am probably editing that as this video is being uploaded. These videos are definitely different. There is a reason for them. It'll make sense in a few weeks when I finally release the video that explains why all these videos are coming out. And I do appreciate you guys for sticking with me. If you want to see that part 1 of that overland guide, that's right there. But thank you guys so much for watching.